Good evening. Would like to call the Trotwood-Madison City School Board meeting, July 11, 2019, work session to order. Mrs. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes. Meeting has been called to order. Will you please join us for Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I now need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll move. I'll second.
It's been moved and we have a second. Are there any changes, additions? Okay, no revisions to the agenda. Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, the agenda has been adopted. First up, we have a presentation from the Preschool Promise, Ms. Charmaine Weber and Robin Lightcap.
So, Mrs. Lightcap is running about a couple minutes late. The GPS took her.
Oh, you can't use the GPS here.
So she's running a little late.
Can't. She might be here tomorrow. Okay. All right. So you know what? We can move on. Okay, if it's the board's pleasure. All right. Thank you. Can we move to the treasurer's report, Ms. Allen?
Okay, I have a couple of items for you this evening, two for information and one for action. The first one is the approval of the meeting minutes from June the 6th, 2019, June 13th, 2019, June 20th, 2019, and June 27th, 2019. And again, that's for information only, and that's under 3A. The next one under 3B is a then and now certificate. And it's for the Mansfield Oil Company, and it's actually for our fuel. And what happened at the end of the year, that purchase order was closed prematurely, and we had to put it back on. And so because we have to put it back on, then it falls into the then and now category over $3,000. And so we wanted to bring that to the board's attention, and we will be asking for approval for that for next Thursday.
Thank you.
Okay. 3C, I asked that the budgets be under the treasurer's report today because I have been working with the athletic director, Mr. Frank Russo, and the principal, Mr. Michael McCray, on the budget. And I just wanted to go through it very quickly. As you know, the budgets are supposed to come to the board for approval. The budgets for like general fund, we don't bring those to the board for approval. That's done through the appropriation piece. However, when we do have the general fund booklet together, we will go through that in detail at one of our retreats. And so you will see that at hopefully our next retreat, we can go over the general fund budget. But the first budget we wanted to bring to the board was the athletic budget. And I, in front of you, put hard copies because I wanted you to see a couple of things because there were some questions. So at the top, you can see the gate receipts. They have projected those gate receipts to be $120,000 plus entry fees. And the entry fees could be for any tournament, well, not tournament, but just gate receipts, any swim invitation, that kind of thing.
Invitational.
Okay. And then on number 3, I noticed that there was $19,000 left in the athletic flow-through account. and that money can be made available to us. What we need to look at is we did not invoice ourselves for the rental. So that was $19,000 sitting there, so we need to go through that exercise, and that could free up an additional $19,000 there. And then at our meeting a couple, I guess, weeks ago, we talked about what is about a good transfer, and we said the average was about $70,000, so we did put $70,000 there. So that totals of $219,100.
Okay, so, sorry.
Okay, so we get a motion on the floor. Okay.
The expenses then are divided in different categories such as purchase services. Arbiter is a vehicle where we pay the referees. Huddle is another venue that we pay for video, when you take videos of the games, and then you can send all those videos to recruit and all that to different campuses, so we do pay for that. Security was a big item. I didn't realize that until I looked at the report. Huge security expense is very large. Reconditioning helmets, travel, and then mileage. Supplies and materials all include your uniforms and anything that an athlete might need to perform their different tasks. So that's in supplies and materials. Dues and fees are everything that we pay to do. If we go to a track meet, we have to pay entry fees. If we go to a swim meet, we have to pay entry fees. And then the dues, we might have to pay dues for the Ohio Athletic Association. There is dues related to that. We did put in $15,500 for a volleyball system and a softball scoreboard. As I understand it, we do need another scoreboard for the boys baseball, but we weren't able to fit it in this budget, so we kind of put that on hold for potentially next year, and we just put $15,500. 5 and 6, I wanted to delineate that to make it very transparent to the board. The Hall of Fame banquet is banked into that, $2,500, and that goes to for the dinners for the recipients and the rental of the facility. Then there is a Hall of Fame hallway for $5,500. We have talked about, and I know President Moore, you indicated that you had visited Fairmont
Kettering.
Fairmont, and they have a Hall of Fame that includes not only the athletes, but teachers, distinguished alumni, that kind of thing. And I think they've been talking about that, and that can be easily morphed into that same type of thing. And so that total came to $218,050. So the remaining balance, or in this particular budget, is $1,050. I also attached all of the different costs for, like boys track supplies and the basketball supplies and the reconditioning helmets, so that you could have that information. So I thought it would be good for me to present this. And then obviously if you have questions, then Frank would be, or our superintendent would be sitting here, and they can answer that as well. Or I could try to answer them for you.
Okay. And this item is up for action.
And we put it up for action because there are expenses that will start quickly, and we need this budget approved before we can start spending any money. And that, obviously that's a directive, and that's directive for everything, obviously. So we wanted that on for action this evening, so that they could, if they need to, start spending their budget.
One second. Anything else?
I don't have anything.
I need a motion for treasurer's item C as presented.
So moved. I'll second.
It's been moved and I have a second. Are there any questions?
I have a question. First of all, I want to apologize for not having with me the information we got.
Mr. Andrews, can you speak into this? Because we have to have these recorded and we're having a,
Can you hear me?
just make sure you're in the microphone.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been warned about that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
First of all, I want to apologize for not having the information that we received a couple meetings ago that showed all the expenditures for the last 2 or 3 years on athletics and things. But I'm looking at the gate receipts, and I'm just curious how you came to 120,000. And I'm only saying that, let me qualify that, because I know that can kind of go up and down based on a number of things, such as the quality of the opponents we're playing, the familiarity of our community with the people that we're playing, the success of that particular team in that particular season, all those weigh on that. So I was just wondering how you came to 120.
And I have an answer, and Frank, if you don't mind, Frank answering after I do. And I don't have it in front, I didn't bring it, but I do remember. 2 years ago, 1 year was, I think, 138, the other one was 147. This past year was 118.
Mhm.
You average that out, is about 130,000. And so that's on an average year. So we do understand that there's going to be ups and downs. As I understand it, this year is potentially could be a good year for us when we bring in larger gates. And so Mr. Russo did come up with the 130,000, 120 plus the 10, the 130,000, and felt that that would be a good starting point for FY20.
Okay.
Did you want to add to that, Mr. Russo?
Yeah.
Okay, could you approach the board?
Real quick on the projections of that. The other thing comes down to a variable you were just discussing, is weather. So, I mean, if you have a thunderstorm come through, you could have a very light gate. If you have a beautiful night, you could have a great gate. But this year, the teams that we're playing, large schools, as we transition into the GWAC schools for 1 year, those are going to be big gates, big rivalries. We have Wayne at home, we have Northmont at home, 2 big games. We have Wentworth this year, which I believe was our largest gate. If you looked at last year, if you were down at the game down at Wentwoods, stadium was packed. So the other thing as you look at that is our football team 2 years ago was in the state finals. So that title run for 4 more games leading up to the championship, as you know, from basketball, if you look at our gate receipts this year in basketball, were tremendous. Simply the interest and excitement, enthusiasm from the community as the team, again, goes through the season and continues to, move forward throughout the tournament. So that has an impact as well. We're also implementing an online store this year that we'll put out a couple times this year with Adidas. So hopefully to generate some funds as well through that particular vehicle.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So the gate receipts for this year, what did that come to?
118.
118?
And I just wanted to make, to say another point is that anything after our season is not in here. So if we go to state, that would be additional money. And so we didn't put it in there because we don't know. And so the possibility for athletics to come back and say, okay, we need $5,000 for buses or blah, 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 that might be an additional expense. It just depends on how successful. The gates might be 200,000 this year. I'm just saying, so that there would give us a lot larger cushion in terms of revenue. But 130, we felt that was a conservative.
120.
120 plus the 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying 130, 120 plus the 10. We felt was a conservative estimate.
Are there questions?
On the Hall of Fame, how did is it the Hall of Fame? The Hall of Fame banquet and the Hall of Fame walkway. And I may have missed it. I wasn't at the last board meeting, but do we know, was the board briefed on the selection process? How many people and,
I can give you a breakdown.
First and foremost, no, the board was not brought into the fold on that selection at all. And we had, we had communicated a bit with the superintendent about this particular project. So here, and I'm gonna just piggyback on what you're talking about. When we talked about the Hall of Fame wallway or hallway, whatever we're gonna put up, we initially said, it's a great idea, wonderful, because we always want to highlight our students. However, we also want to highlight not just student athletes, but again, academics. That's what we're all about. Also, we have some Hall of Famer staff. We have staff that have done tremendous work in the field. We also have some administration that have gone through and that have really made a huge impact in this district along the lines of what it looks like today and how we function. So one of the directives from the board, and Ms. Jeter Freeman, I think this is where we left off. The plan for any type of Hall of Fame would have been all-inclusive with all those players at the table. Everybody deciding what that would look like so that there would be continuity. When I visited Kettering, and I have pictures for you guys too, they have that Hall of Fame and it's beautiful. However, it's not just for athletics. It's for everything in the district that they are proud of and those that they want to recognize. And it wasn't done by just the athletic department. It was done as a collective by everyone in the district, primarily because there are all the administrative bodies, the buildings, that sort of thing. Because what we don't want is we don't want one department to decide on what that looks like for everybody. We certainly don't want the Athletic Hall of Fame for there to be 11 by 17 photos and then students 5 by 7s, okay? I mean, we want consistency, and it's beautiful the way that they have it laid out in Kettering. And we desire something along those lines, Mr. Russo. I think it's an awesome idea. I think it's a wonderful idea, and it's something that Trotwood needs. However, when we do something like this, it can't be one department. So my question to you would be, first and foremost, with this Hall of Fame, did we collaborate with the administration along the lines of what we wanted the Hall of Fame to look like academically and with our teachers, our award-winning teachers, and with administrators back in the past? Did we do that?
No, we did not. And the reason being, I can tell you, historically speaking, I was the one that went up to LaSalle High School 25 years ago that was asked by our athletic director to implement an athletic Hall of Fame. They also had another distinguished alumni awards that they give out at other times of the year. So many high schools have athletic Hall of Fame. So what I had done when I come in, and the great traditions and success stories that Trotwood has had throughout generations, I approached Terry Logan and asked him, again, since he had been in the district so long, and he had said that they had actually started, he and Mr. Ladd had started the process and actually had a whole basically format that they were going to implement and never did. And so we sat down and began the process and narrowed down the scope in terms of the framework of which they had. Again, can we modify this? Absolutely. But I would like to, if I could share with you the individuals that we came up with. Yes, they were student athletes at the time, but today, world-class educators that have given back, great Americans that have given back to society. You're talking generations that are spanning from the class of 1962 to the class of 2007. And when you see the recipients, you'll notice, yes, they were students, yes, they were athletes here at Trotwood, but they went on to far greater missions in life and have had tremendous impact on not only area, but across the country. You see these particular individuals, principals, coaches, mentors, teachers, college professors that, again, have had esteemed careers. So I think that you will be proud of the selection. I can share with you the committee that Mr. Logan had assembled, again, which are rich in tradition with Trotwood administrators and past administrators and community members. And those include Terry Logan, who I had asked to be the chairman, and then he went out, and Tammy Sterner was on the committee, Jim Ladd was on the committee, Winston Class on the committee, Lefty Martin, and then I sat in as well. And so those were the members, and I think you would see that that crosses the academia as well as athletics when you look at those particular individuals that are involved or were involved in the process. But from my end, you know, being an athletic director, I was focused in on athletics. And so I apologize from that standpoint, but I do welcome and understand that this is in terms of clearly being able to broaden the scope, that moving forward, that won't be a problem at all, and welcome it. And I think that this is, you know, a win-win. It's a start of a great tradition that I think everybody in this room could be very proud of starting this year, that beyond when we're gone, that this particular tradition can bring, you know, esteemed alumni back to relive their days with fellow classmates and again, share their stories, their life stories, because as we know in education, it's cradle to grave. And so what happens to our alumni once they graduate? Many of them go on and never come back. Well, this is one way to bring you know, people back to the community. Again, share some time with some of their classmates and have a wonderful weekend.
And I don't think any of us would disagree with that. I mean, we are always proud of our students as they've gone out into the world. Again, looking at really and truly, this is an athletic hallway, a thing for, I mean, this is what you're asking for this particular, on this agenda, on this budget.
And
it's not for anybody else. This is just for athletics.
Well, as I said, I'm more than willing from a flexibility standpoint to say we can rename it. We haven't put it out. We can just name it Hall of Honor. And again, moving forward, bring in a larger amount of people involved from all areas of the community. And again, celebrate the success of what they have done, not only as students here, as, again, distinguished alumni, but also as teachers in the school district throughout their careers.
This sounds like something we definitely want, but I think that if we put it in context with working collectively with all those other departments, this would be an item down the road, but not now, right? I mean, board?
Correct.
Yeah.
Only because, again, of the way the planning, the collaboration, and also the cost. The cost. The board is very serious about how we spend our dollars. And again, this doesn't count when we go to state, because our kids are going to go to state. We have excellent kids, excellent athletes. That's going to be an additional cost in addition to this budget, correct, Ms. Allen?
Yes.
All right. So we're not saying no. We're not saying no. We're just saying not now. Board, would you agree?
Right.
Okay, for this particular piece. And also I want to talk to the treasurer about the Mandalay Banquet Center. Okay, I understand this includes 20 guests at $31 a piece. That's for the meal. Is that correct? For $620. And then the room is $350. Now, I question the bartender
Yeah, that's what I have.
because these are federal dollars.
Well, it's
And
school dollars.
school dollars. We don't go to conferences and put wine on our bill. I mean, we can't do that. So we have to stay within the guidelines of federal guidelines and rules and laws. So
Yeah, we would
that-
never support.
we would never, unless we wanted our heads on a platter. All right? So absolutely not. So in my opinion, that definitely should come off of there, the 125. I'm not opposed to having a nice banquet. Okay, if it fits within the budget. I do have a question about the rings because that I've been on the board for quite a while and we have won tournaments and championships. That is not a line item that we have ever accepted because there are fundraisers out there for the rings. I know they just had the Chipotle. Even as board members, we've been asked to give for that and that sort of thing. That is not an item that,
President Moore, I think the rings that they're talking about, those are the gifts, just like they're a plaque or something, those, they were designating the ring as their gift. It's like a plaque for the recipient to have a ring. It's not athletic ring, it's not state rings or anything.
okay.
It was just a different philosophy.
So that's the plaque, that's the
Yes.
trophy?
It's like, yes, it's like
Okay.
a plaque that says I'm the 2019 honoree. It's a ring as opposed to a plaque.
Okay. So 5 of them for $1,048. What is the math?
$9.02.
Yeah. What I would like to do, and I'm going to ask the board, I'd like to table that. I'd like to table the Hall of Fame hallway. I think the banquet is fine. We need to take off the bartender. Unless anybody has anything else. Yeah. Mr. Russo, we have to watch our spending. Last year, the athletic department spent over their budget by $157,000. We have got to tighten our belts. We have to substantiate everything that we do in this district in a way that makes sense. And frankly, this is great. However, we're looking at everything as a whole. And we want to make sure that our athletes have uniforms and helmets reconditioned and all the safety stuff that's put in place, which is not cheap. So we're supporting all of that. We're supporting clinics, camps, hospitality tents. I mean, things that goggles, everything that an athlete needs to be successful. But when it comes to ancillary things, or I call them luxury items, we have to really be mindful of those things. I mean, in a perfect world, we'd have deep pockets, deep pants, and we could just do whatever, but we don't have that right now. So again, on this budget, I would table the rings, I would table the Hall of Fame hallway, and take off the bartending.
Now, if we're doing the banquet though, you're in effect going ahead, except for doing the wall, you are doing the banquet, right?
We're doing the banquet. We've done banquets
When is
before.
the banquet?
August 29th.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that's information that really should,
we didn't even know.
yeah.
Yeah. What time is the banquet?
It'd be 6 PM. It'll be, we were gonna put all that out once everything was approved.
Well, I mean, even if the board wanted to come, you've only accounted for 20 people for the dinner, so we have to pay for our own. I mean, I want to be real careful along the lines of how we do this transparently.
You have a
You know.
line item for those.
There's a line item for that?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
The budget for that.
And the 350, that's just for the room at the main.
Yes, the rental.
Yeah. Mhm. Any other comments, board? Mr. Andrews?
Yes. Based on the idea that, we're looking at a, Hall of Fame that would be more inclusive or more diverse than just athletics. And then looking at some of the other, I think it probably does need to be tabled right now to get a really good look at and a good grip on it. I think that if we're going to go that route, the selection committee needs to be more diverse.
I agree.
And also for some of the other expenses and things that are occurring around some of the things we're trying to do, I think we need to really seriously look at trying to organize a true Trotwood-Madison Athletics Booster Club. And I think in the past, one of the Achilles heels of those kind of efforts have been that they've been organized around a sport, a specific sport. And so it ends up not being supportive of everybody, just supportive of that particular entity. And I don't think that served the district very well. And I think that's one thing that we really need to look at is a booster club to help with some of these other kinds of expenses that come up. That was pretty much it. And then also, and maybe I heard this wrong, but I'm thinking that whoever the candidates and honorees are, it should be based solely on their careers here at Trotwood-Madison. If they go on and become world-class individuals and want to note that, that's okay, but everybody doesn't. And so if you're going to honor folks and recognize them as Trotwood-Madison Hall of Fame recipients or honorees, it should be based on the body of work they did at Trotwood-Madison exclusively. Everything else is nice, but can't predict that. I think all of us sitting here can think of people who were tremendous athletes here, and that unfortunately was kind of the highlight of their life. And that happens. It's tragic, but it does happen. But if we're going to honor them, we should honor them for their contributions here. And I really think we need a booster club to help with our expenses.
So what I was hearing you say, you were saying we should table what?
We should, I'm agreeing with with the board that we should look into this look into this further and get more specific details and things on how we want it to look and whom we want it to recognize and serve.
Okay. Any other comments?
The only other one I would have is, do we have a rotation for the athletic uniforms for the different sports? So we have warm-ups for track, girls and boys, for, who's boys CC supplies?
Cross country.
Oh, cross,
I just ordered cross-country uniforms and girls tennis today.
okay,
I said in my last presentation, for free.
okay, right,
On promo, the only thing that we're being charged for is the logos we put on.
okay,
So you're talking between them probably $1,500 to $2,000 that we're receiving in those items.
yeah, and that was my thought. I know we're getting some free, but we're still paying, I guess.
Mhm.
and maybe it's not a lot, it's just.
There we are.
In our bowling team, how many students did we have participate last year?
I believe we had 6 and 6 each. We had full teams.
Throughout, bowling's a scholarship sport now.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Are we getting more students into swimming?
That's our goal in terms of trying to work with grade schools, the elementary, middle school, bringing them over for phys ed, from what I understand. And subjecting them to a new sport, you know. So we're hoping to grow.
Mhm.
That's a goal, to
Okay.
grow that program. I
Mhm.
mean, we have best facility.
Right, we have all the other schools coming to use.
And we host a
Right.
district tournament here
Mhm.
in swimming.
Mhm. And they pay, that's part of those entry fees when they come and use our natatorium?
Yes. And that's the Fund 022. When I talk about us hosting a tournament, we have to use another account. We can't use Fund 300. We have to flow it through 022. And so we pay the salaries of the, whatever, the meet officials, blah, 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 the rental of the facilities and other associated costs through Fund 022.
Mhm. You have anything else to add, Mr. Russo?
I would like to pass these out to the, in terms, this was the inaugural class, and just a short little bio on each one, if you would like to share that with you, like that.
You can pass them out. You brought them? Yeah, that's fine. That's not a problem. Mhm. Miss Allen, with the changes that the board wants, can you do the math and what we need to do?
So I want you
We're gonna vote on
to
this.
summarize, but
Yeah.
what I have is we're gonna reduce the Hall of Fame
Thank you,
banquet
Mr.
by
Russo. Thank you, Mr. Russo. Thank you.
$125. And then are you saying to table the whole $5,500 for the Hall?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we can take the $5,500 out.
Yes.
And so anything else?
The rings?
The rings was $1,048. Okay, so I'm gonna add those up. 125 plus $1,048 plus 5,500. That's $6,673 that we're gonna reduce from the 218,050.
Okay. You know, this is interesting. Total budget, 21050 on the bottom of this page, the last page, and then you have the total budget, 219,100 on the first page.
219,100 is the revenue at the top.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what, okay, and the expenditures, okay,
So,
are 210, right? Is that?
yeah, that,
Well, no, it's 218.
yeah, so
Yeah,
the
218.
The Treasurer's Division did the math.
This is not
And then
right.
this actual second page is Frank's. So we actually did the math. and
Okay.
it came to $218,050.
Okay.
Gotta take that out.
So it's not 210,050.
Okay, so the superintendent just just said to me the 210 is without the Hall of Fame. So if you add the 8,000 with the, Hall of Fame is 218,050.
I was out,
Thank you.
I can share, I was out
Okay,
when
thank
Janice
you.
met with Frank. I went into the budget after having a conversation with the board. I took out the $8,000 until I got back with Frank to have a conversation with him in regards to what the board would actually pay for. And at that time, I noted at that time we would not pay for the wall at that time until we had more collaboration and thinking about the other educators as well. The rings, again, that was pulled out, and even, actually, I'm not sure if they even had a cost for the bank at that time, because, again, I had all that just removed out until we had further conversation. Unfortunately, I was out a week opposite Janice, and so she had conversation with Frank, and I think that's where the difference of the 218 versus 210 came from, because I removed, that's
$8,000.
$8,000 difference there, because I removed that.
Yeah, you took the whole project off.
Took the whole project out until I had one conversation with Frank, just to make sure it was firmed up what we were actually doing. But Janice had a conversation with Frank while I was out, and that's what the difference is.
Okay.
So I did quick math. The expenses then would be, if we took $6,678 away, the total expenses would be $211,377.
So that was then leaving in the banquet, but minus the rings and minus the hallway.
And minus.
And the bartender.
Yes.
So, we had a motion on the floor. Any other comments or questions? Okay,
Yes.
okay. We had a motion on the floor for the original item, and now we've changed the item. I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
Oh, your microphone.
Okay, thank you.
You was
Okay, okay. And now we've changed that item. So, we don't want to approve that item as presented. Okay, and, I'm sorry?
Excuse me. And can you approve it as amended?
We can, okay? And as amended would be the $211,377. Okay? All right, so. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take the vote, and then we'll come back and amend it, okay? Because I don't want to change the motion when it's on the floor.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Mrs. Allen, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Bozeman.
Yes. Oh, no. I thought we were amending it. No.
Okay, we will come back. We will,
Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
No,
Mr. Andrews
No.
and Ms. Moore.
no. Okay. Motion does not pass as presented. However, I need a motion to, let me get back into board docs.
So actually it would be 3D then. We can just add 3D as an amended.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I need a motion to add Treasurer's Report item 3D, which is a resolution to approve the athletic budget for the 2019-2020 school year with the amended appropriations for the Hall of Fame hallway, the 5 Jostin rings, and the 125 bartender, part of the Hall of Fame, bringing the total expenditures to $211,377. Need a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor and we have a second. Are there any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes. Motion passes. Resolution to approve the amended athletic budget for the 2019-2020 school year. Okay. Next up,
President Moore, we hit Mrs.
oh, okay.
Oh, shoot.
Robin.
Okay, since our presenters have come in, we're gonna go back up to the presentations, the preschool promise. And that's, Ms. Charmaine Webster, okay, and Robin Lightcap.
So thank you, and thank you for accommodating us. I'm Robin Lightcap, and Charmaine is not well tonight, so she's not able to join us. But Ryan is here, and so it'll be the two of us who are speaking with you. So thank you very much for having us here. I'm not sure, can I control the slides, or does anybody know how that works? Oh,
Yes,
should I go?
so you have slides, do you have slides for the board as well? Or-
We did not print anything, we just
That's fine, we'll look at your screen. Okay, and it's 15-minute presentation, is that correct?
I think so. We can be done faster if you'd like. We all know quickly.
Thank you.
Honor your time. So I'm just here to explain to you what Preschool Promise is and to let you know how we intend to partner with you all and to support you in your early childhood work. And we also would welcome your feedback and ideas because this is our first time coming to Trotwood with Preschool Promise and we really need your support and ideas. So that's our purpose. So the vision with Preschool Promise is that all children in Montgomery County will be fully ready for kindergarten. We know that the years from 0 to 5 are really critical in growing and supporting our children as they grow their brains. And so we want to make sure that they have high quality preschool experiences. One of the best proven strategies is to make sure they are in a high quality classroom before they get to kindergarten. And we know that if our children come to you all in kindergarten more ready, that only supports their continued growth and helps us address some of the achievement gaps and opportunity gaps that are prevalent in so many areas of our county. So what Preschool Promise does is provide support for that year of preschool prior to kindergarten. So we're working with 4-year-olds or 5-year-olds who are in their last year of preschool before they go into kindergarten. And there are 3 parts of Preschool Promise. We have what we call 3 pillars. The first one is about educating the communities, and it's really about helping families understand what their preschool options are. It's a complicated system. There's Head Start, there's the public preschool, there are childcare options. So it depends on what the family's needs are. If they're working, if they're not working, if they want a half day, a full day. So that's what we are there to do, is to help them navigate that. We also, the most important part of what we're doing is expanding the quality and really coming alongside school districts and childcare programs and the teachers to help support their development. Oftentimes, there are so many demands in the K-12 system that preschool isn't always front and center in the professional development and support, so we're able to make that the front and center part of our initiative. And then the third thing is helping families find and afford. This is where tuition assistance can be involved if tuition's involved. And we have some other ways that we're providing assistance to families. So just to give you a little background, it started as a pilot program in Kettering back in 2014. It was very small and it was not nearly as expansive as it is now. It has grown over the years. We went to Northwest Dayton in 2016. Then in 2017-18, the mayor and the city commissioners passed an earned income tax that helped provide funding to Preschool Promise for the next 8 years. So we were able to take it to all of the city of Dayton. And then thanks to Montgomery County, with the sales tax increase last year, we are able to expand now to Trotwood, to Jefferson Township, and to a small portion of Mad River. So again, thanks to Montgomery County, that's how we're able to grow. Okay, so why is quality preschool important? Obviously, you all understand the importance of high quality education, but too many of our kids are starting school behind. When we look at the Trotwood data and we look at the kindergarten readiness assessment by the state, we have technically only 15% that are in that demonstrating readiness band. And that's what we are here to do, is to help move that number and to help our families and our teachers give our kids what they need in those early years. And the things that we're doing to come alongside you all, and we've been working with Mr. Warner for months now. He's been a great partner in this. We've already come and met with your preschool teachers. They're excited, I think, it's fair to say, that they were looking forward to the opportunities. But we have professional learning communities that teachers can join. They'll be part of them for once a month. They get a stipend at the end of the year. We're acknowledging their time and their investment financially to just give them a stipend. We also we're providing coaching in the classroom. We're going to be doing some customized trainings that Mr. Warner has requested. We have done things around implicit bias training. All of our Dayton Public Schools teachers went through implicit bias training last year. We are doing culturally relevant teaching. We are constantly disaggregating and looking at our data in new ways. We have a really intense focus on that. We partner with the University of Dayton, bring students who are trained on doing child assessments into the classroom so that we are getting outside objective assessments across all of our different sites. We then use that data, correlate it with the scores on our teacher assessments, and look at what are the strategies that we're doing that are actually making a difference for our children. So we are constantly evolving with our program, getting feedback from parents. Last night we had a focus group with bus drivers, constantly looking at ways that we can connect with the front lines and hear what we can do better. We also wanted to just share with you, we have over the last, it's about 8 years now, through our work, Preschool Promise started with Learn to Earn Dayton. Some of you are familiar with Learn to Earn Dayton, which is our cradle to career effort in the community, and Preschool Promise started underneath Learn to Earn Dayton. And we have been gathering data thanks to superintendent and all the superintendents prior, superintendents across the district. We do kindergarten parent surveys. So when parents come and enroll with you in the district, we ask them what were their experiences prior to coming to kindergarten. And we're able to then tell how many kids had a preschool experience, because of course you're not serving all of your kids. And so we can see from this data that we have about a third of our kids in that gray box in Trotwood that have not had any experience at all in a center-based preschool or childcare program. And we know from our own local data that the children that have had that experience are doing much better on that kindergarten readiness assessment. So we have, that is a big focus for us, and that is part of what Ryan is working so hard to do, is to find the families who aren't going at all. But then we also want to work on the families who maybe are in lower quality programs and help them move to higher quality programs over time. So that just gives you a feel, one little glimpse in how we're looking at data. We have done a lot of recruitment and enrollment that Ryan's going to talk about in just a minute, but we of course are very sensitive to the tornadoes that you all are still every single day, every hour dealing with. We have changed our outreach efforts to come alongside the tornado relief efforts. That very first week, we told our outreach specialists, we got to be all hands on deck, come and help. We were out there helping clean up the trash in the neighborhoods, all of that, because talking to families about preschool when they've just lost everything is absurd. And so we are really trying to build relationships with you all and with the families here, because we understand there are a lot of other things going on besides just thinking about preschool. So that is Ryan and another one who are working in the community. Ryan lives here in Trotwood, so we look to hire people who live here and who know our program and who know the community most of all, because it only works if you can establish trust with everyone here. And I think what we'll do is let Ryan explain a little bit more about her frontline experiences.
Good evening. So what I've learned here in Trotwood is that, and also being a new resident in Trotwood for a couple of years, is that it's a very close-knit area. And if you are not a trusted source, I've gotten a little pushback. So what we have been working towards is going to local events. We partner with Gateway Cathedral, with the Met, with the local restaurant Sharks, Donut Palace, and just different places that a lot of Trotwood residents frequent, just to tell them about Preschool Promise, let them know what benefits their child will receive, what benefits the school will receive. So we're just looking forward, going forward to working with you all to see the best way to reach the community. And like I said, just becoming a brand that's trusted in this area. And on some occasions, in more personal conversations, I've kind of I've shared my experiences with Preschool Promise. I am a Preschool Promise parent. So again, just working, going forward, getting out here and meeting the parents and finding the best way to connect with them so that they see the benefits of Preschool Promise is our goal.
Thank you, Ryan. And then just to conclude here, this is actually a billboard. Maybe, has anyone seen that?
I've seen it.
You have, okay. All right. This is actually conscious discipline language, which is a really proven strategy of working in the classroom with teachers to help build a really strong and inviting experience in the classroom around social emotional. We all know how important social emotional is in our children's learning, and this is a really evidence-based way to do it. We have teachers in Dayton Public who have been there for decades and have master's degrees, and they say that going through this has transformed their classroom. So this is actually something Mr. Warner is really excited about, and we're going to come on site here and do conscious discipline training with not just your preschool classroom, but with all of the kindergarten teachers too, so that the whole early learning center can have that. But this is language that is conscious discipline, and so when the tornadoes happened, we wanted to obviously, like I said earlier, acknowledge that, and so we're using conscious discipline language there and just trying to help people understand we want to be there. We know it will take time to build a relationship. The other thing I want to be a little more concrete about is Preschool Promise does not run any preschool programs. Sometimes that's confusing. We are coming alongside, we have 85 sites that we work with in Dayton, Kettering, Trotwood, Mad River, Jefferson Township. So we are coming alongside what you are doing and looking for ways, asking Mr. Warner, asking the teachers, what is it that we can do to help support what's going on here? So we have quality dollars that will be available to you all to help do things that need to happen in your building and with your families and with teachers. So we talk with Mr. Warner about that, and depending on how many applications you get in through Preschool Promise, that influences how many quality dollars you can access. But then also all these professional development that we're providing for free, and then the stipends that we're giving to your teachers are significant. So the other thing that we'll be doing this year is a new thing. We call it the Book of the Month. And we know from research that building our children's home library is really important, especially if they're high quality books that kids like to read. And so we have done a lot of vetting and worked with Dayton Metro Library and picked books that are proven ones that kids are like, Mommy, please read this again and again and again. And so they will be getting a book mailed to them at their house to the child. And that will be once a month. The teacher will also get the book, so she can read it in the classroom with the children, and we're trying to connect that home and school front. So that'll be a new thing for us to try this year. On the inside of the book, it gives questions for the parents to ask their children as they're reading, because one of the best ways to build the early literacy skills is to have the back and forth conversations. So we're trying to model that and help parents see. They get a postcard every month with friendly tips on how to work with their children, reinforcing conscious discipline and attendance ideas. They also will get a birthday card with a free pass to go to the Boone Shop for their whole family, up to 6 people. So we're looking for ways to model things that they can do with their families to make things more accessible. We did an end of the year event this past Preschool Promise year at the Boone Shop. And as I was welcoming families in, I would ask them, have you been here? And a lot of our families said, I was here as a kid myself, but I haven't been here since that. And so we really want to make it more accessible for them to be able to take their children. So those are just a few examples, honoring your time, trying to keep it brief. But if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer. And we'll just look forward to, over the months to come, to partnering with you.
Okay. I have one question. Yeah. On the quality dollars,
yeah,
what can they be used for?
We intend for them to go towards something that's going to improve obviously the quality of the classroom. And so sometimes it is something you need for the classroom. Sometimes it might be, we've encouraged people to buy some of the things for conscious discipline that help their rituals. There are a lot of rituals that are helpful with children, creating a safe corner, doing the welcome greeting, creating a school family. There are some things like that you could purchase. Sometimes in our childcare centers, we have a real pay issue in childcare centers because they are paid usually $9 to $11 an hour, and yet we're expecting them to get degrees. So in some of the childcare centers, they use them for stipends for their staff. That usually isn't really where we go in the public schools since the wages are in a different place. But it could be something that we want to have a coach that comes in to work on a specific topic. It could be that, the culturally relevant teaching is a topic we really want to go after, or Wired to Move, which is creating boy-friendly classrooms. One of the things that I'm exploring right now is, do we need to do some more home visiting with families that are having trouble getting to preschool every day? So we have a lot of flexibility in them. And really what we do is work with the administrator and the teachers to figure out what makes sense in each place.
Thank you.
I do have the annual report that we shared with the community last year that I brought a copy for each of you if you'd like to see that. And I have one postcard that is just an example of the kinds of material that we leave in places around the community. But I do really welcome your input on places we should go, partnerships we should form. We will be speaking to Mayor McDonald and the City Council on Monday night, so we're talking to the city as well. But we welcome any and all suggestions that you have. Churches, big community events in the neighborhoods. We know football games are a big deal, all of that. So we just welcome your ideas. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's okay if I come up here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I put an extra too in case. Yes, definitely.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you send me? So that we can post it to Brian, how's that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. We appreciate your presentation. Okay, next up, superintendent report.
Okay. Superintendent's item A, resolution to approve overnight band camp. After speaking to the board last week, I went back and had conversations with Jason Shelton in regards to what could the band boosters support because of the amount of money that we were requesting at that time. Jason then went back and met with some parents. We have another meeting also scheduled for July 16th at 7 p.m. for final count, but this time he has 52 students who are anticipated to attend the camp with estimated cost now of $8,840. He anticipates, he said, with the late notice and having to go to band camp, they can come up with half the money, half of that number, which would be $4,420, but they asked to have that money spread out over the course of this year. They can pay it back. And the reason being, in their bylaws with the money that they've already collected for this year, they had to have it zeroed out at the end of the year. So they spent their money down, so they don't have any money going to the year. So every year they go in with a zero, and they actually do fundraising and spend the money down. So what they're looking for is to ask that at this time the board approve the field trip, approve the overnight trip right now for 52 students, but you'll have a final number on July 16th after their final meeting with the parents. And again, also then to ask the board to pay them out, but they'll pay half of that amount back over the course of the year. And thinking about that, also asking them what would be the sustainability then for the future, where it wouldn't be board supported, but then be supported by the organization. So next year, going to next year, as they raise fund money, they'll actually then have money, say March or April next year, when they drain their account down, they'll pay for the 2021 camp out of that money, and then it will not come to the board to be self-sustaining then, because every year then they roll into it. As you probably remember, they spent a lot of their money at the end of this year actually on tornado relief. So again, it's two-pronged approach. Really, the one is to get the board to approve the field trip for the August, what's the dates on that?
August 5th through the 9th?
Yes, August 5th through the 9th. And then the second part was with the money. If the board would approve the money, knowing that their booster group will pay half the money back over the course of this school year, but going into the 2021 school year, it would not be a financial burden on the district at all because they'll have money already collected.
Okay, and they're going on August 5th.
August 5th through the 9th.
Okay, and we have another board meeting next Thursday, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let me get a motion on the floor and then I will have some comments, okay? I need a motion for superintendent item A to approve the overnight band camp trip as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
So you're saying if they want to, I had I looked at the email earlier. They want it for how much? Not the 11.
No, it's down to, they have 52 students now, and they want the money for the 52 students. I think when we were talking last time, I think they were looking at 70 kids at that time.
Right.
That was 11,000 numbers, down to 52 now. But he said you have final numbers on the 16th, but he's thinking about, he's anticipating 52.
Okay, is that where the 88?
8840 came from, right? $8,840 came from.
So they want action next time.
Well, they wanted action now, but my suggestion is let's get all of this in writing and get those actual numbers. You said he'll have it on the 16th.
Yes.
And then it can be on our next board agenda.
Okay.
That way we have a complete package. Right now, we just got pieces.
Only problem is the 16th, I mean, I had to hand carry the number in on the 17th because it won't be 2 days before. This agenda will be out 2 days before. The 16th is the day before, so I have to actually hand walk in the numbers that we're looking at.
Okay, we can do that because here's what this doesn't say. It just says we pay and there's no
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
documentation for what they're gonna do. Yeah. So when we get these kind of items, if we could have a complete packet of what it is we are voting yes to,
Okay.
that would be helpful. So I would actually say that we table this,
That's fine.
okay, all together.
Until next Thursday.
Yes.
17.
Would that be pleasure of the board?
Yes.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay.
So, any other comments or questions? Okay, being none, Ms. Allen, we have a motion on the floor and we've had discussion, so we need to, yes, call the roll.
Mrs. Bozeman,
No.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
No.
Mr. Andrews,
No.
and Ms.
No. Motion does not pass as is. Okay, next item?
We have resolution to approve athletic out-of-state field trip to the Fairdale, Kentucky, December 19th through 23rd, 2019 basketball camp. At that time, the board asked for more information. I asked Mr. Russo to email me more information. As you'll see, it's on page 202. He kind of gave you a summary of what monies are coming in and where monies will be going, but also asked him to attend in case the board may have other questions in regards to the basketball tournament. Just page 2 of in your yeah, it says 2 of 2 on, as I pull it up, it says 2 of 2 on mine. After the contract. Yeah. Slow down. One more here. Okay.
This is part of the budget. This is part of the budget. This is part of the budget. Okay. An action is requested on this particular motion, so I need a motion to accept superintendent item B as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor in a second. Any questions?
Have we participated in this tournament before?
Frank, have we participated in this tournament before?
This is a national tournament, a very prestigious tournament.
This is actually in the budget.
This was part of the budget, right, Ms. Allen?
I saw it on.
Yeah.
I just want clarification.
Mhm.
Got King of the Bluegrass, $3,000. Okay. Any other comments? Andrews?
I know that for the last 5 or more seasons, the girls' program has
Yeah, we can't hear you. Can you? They got it.
sorry. I know that for the last 5 seasons or more, the girls' program has gotten progressively stronger and better every year. And I know that one of the things that they have tried to do is get invited to the, it's a really prestigious tournament here in Ohio. I can't think of the name of it now. Something in the country. And most of the best teams in the state, regardless of division, are invited. And I know we've been on the cusp of being in that tournament several years and been frustrated with that. And I'm a little biased, but I would say this would be a nice reward for all of the effort and improvement that Coach Benton has been able to implement with the girls program. If they could go to this, I think it would be good exposure for them, and I think they would represent us well.
Any other comments? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes,
Mrs. Judah Freeman,
Yes,
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Next item?
Superintendent's item C, resolution to approve employee request for children to attend Trotwood-Madison City Schools for school year 2019-2020 per board policy 5111. And again, we have the employee's name and their child listed. Kindergarten student.
Okay. And action is requested.
Yes.
I need a motion for superintendent item C to approve employee request for children to attend Trotwood-Madison City Schools for the school year 2019-2020 per Board of Education Policy 5111.
So moved.
I'll second.
We've got a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yes, Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Judah Freeman,
Yes,
Mr. Andrews,
yes,
Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Next item?
Superintendent item D, resolution to approve the personnel agenda. Again, as you know, in July, we have, again, resignations as well as approvals for individuals coming into our organization.
I need a motion to accept superintendent item D as presented.
I move.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions?
So can we get the number of tenured teachers, or is that still a word? I don't know. That have left, because when I look at the new teachers coming in, just based on the salary, it looks like we're getting all new teachers,
Right.
young teachers, except for one.
Right.
So that's a little concerning to me. I understand, the pool is the pool that's available, but I'm concerned about our resignations of our tenured teachers that are perhaps leaving. So do we do an exit?
Exit survey.
Yes.
Yeah, Mary, the HR department actually is going and working through the exit survey, and that's a part of some of the training that we'll be getting as well toward the end of the month. But understand when we list individuals to be boarded, because they have actually years of experience. I have that, and I can share it with the board separately. They give us their years of experience at places, but we still have to go back and verify it. So to
Okay.
get them board approved, we put the lowest level 0, just to get them board approved, and then we go back and make the adjustments in our books with their years of experience.
So for the one teacher that is MA 36, step 3, she's already approved because all the others fit into what you're saying,
Right.
except for the one.
She's returning to Trotwood schools as an intervention specialist. So apparently she was here and left and came back. So there's documentation
Okay.
in-house already on her.
One step further past Ms. Jeter Freeman's request, can we get a list of do you have the total number of resignations?
I get that from HR as well.
Any other questions?
When you're asking for a total number, you're asking that be itemized, noting the individuals.
Yeah, total number and positions.
Building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and tenure. Thank you. Any other requests? Seeing none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Next item.
It's superintendent's item E, acceptance of donations. Again, we have donations from different organizations to our buildings. We have one for $395.40 from Life Touch to Madison Park. We have a donation of $21 from Life Touch to Madison Park. We have a donation of $886.64 Donors Choose to Westbrook Village. And we have from Follett School Solutions for the students of Trotwood-Madison City Schools.
Okay. And these are for information only?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Next item. Wright State University Clinical Affiliation. We're working with Wright State University through Nurse Helper, and it's just an agreement with Wright State University to have that individual come here and participate in our program. And this is information only.
Information only. Correct.
Okay. Any questions? Discussion item updates. Our disaster relief, thank you, Mr. Super, thank you.
Okay.
Tyrone. Our discussion items and updates, disaster relief plan, volunteer and donation efforts. Yesterday, there was a press conference and it was very well received. As a matter of fact, would you like to share a few words? And I know, Ms. Allen, you had a few comments.
Let Ms. Allen go first.
Well, I wanted to just say, because of that, we had a gentleman from New Lebanon walk in today and write a check for $1,000 for uniforms. And I was just thoroughly thankful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he said he saw it on TV and he responded.
Wonderful. We got to make sure we get a thank you out
Yes,
on behalf of the board.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
From my standpoint, again, I've been receiving phone calls all day long, text messages and things like that. We have several individuals who have already called and they want to adopt grade levels and they want to partner with other groups to make sure we lock. I'll give you an example. We have the Federal Employed Women of Columbus. They're going to work with another organization here. It's the lady who does Music Hall does the uniform.
Yeah, I sent you a text. I got a call from the state rep
That's right.
Todd Smith this morning at 6:30, and he was like, look, we want to donate.
Yep.
Where do we go from here? So he told me about his friend
Correct. Yeah,
who
Teresa.
saw our press conference, who really wanted to get involved. Not only did she want to get involved, she wanted to lead the charge for the uniforms. So I thought that was pretty impressive, and we were just like, this is fabulous. But I sent it over to you too.
Yes, I've already
And-
spoken to her.
Wonderful.
I've already spoken to her and actually waiting on Monday so we can partner her with Ella, so we can partner with another group that she's going to take a building
Mhm.
and she's going to build in. We've had also other individuals in the community who reached out to us today as well, offering their support, and again, want to connect them to a group so we can take care of grade levels or even buildings at one time, so we can actually move through that process and saying we got this whole building taken care of. We have another group that's actually bringing in donation of uniforms tomorrow. It's a group out of Cincinnati, but they'll be here tomorrow. It said we have supplies coming your way tomorrow via their Dayton location. So it's a church in Cincinnati. So everything's coming. So, I mean, we've been getting a lot. I mean, there's many emails we have. We haven't been able to check all of those, but we have a lot of positive response from the conversations of last night. I can share with you also, I took the van and went out to Centerville because I was hearing a lot of rumblings about our kids being in Centerville. So I went out to the complex in Centerville. One was just to see how long that ride would be, and if we had to transport, how long it would be, because the question came last night, what time does school start? And if a kid had to ride from Centerville to Trotwood, what time they had to be up and things like that. So I wanted to understand that myself. So I took a van ride out there to the Centerville location today. It took me 45 minutes in the van. And so from thinking it's a bus, you gotta add another 15 minutes to that. So it'd be an hour ride on a bus. The other part, I went into the housing complex and talked to the management company there and asked them how many people actually moved in the last month from Trotwood. And they said actually no one had moved in that they knew of on record. They have one family from Trotwood that's moving in next month that they know of. But you know, at the same time, as our parent engagers have spoken to some individuals, they say they were living there. So that being a government housing entity, the individuals may not go and tell the landlords, I'm staying with my sister, my cousin, my uncle, my aunt, because then they'd be in violation of their rental agreement. So it could be kids there, and we've been hearing that anyway, the kids were there, but we cannot verify it through the rental agency. So I just want to share that with you, but I also want to share, because the question came up, how far a ride is that? And I want to make sure I knew the answer to that question. So if you think, for me in a van, it was 45 minutes. If it was a kid, it'd be an hour.
Okay.
So just some updates and things. I would share with you, as we get more updates, we'll continue to share those. We have the crayons to classrooms, providing book bags with the supplies in it. But we also have other individuals who will be providing book bags. And again, we encourage that as well, because we know it could be a lot of transient populations this year with the tornado. We also have the shoes for the shoeless will be here July the 24th at the middle school. They already know the parents and the students who were impacted by a tornado. They're giving away free shoes as well as socks. We have some individuals right now working with the Limited brand, trying to get underwear and things like that for those displaced families as well. And there's some other groups that have reached out to us, and they're trying to work on some other channels and things that sometimes you may not even think about the students may need, that they're working on that. There's a couple other groups also waiting and working on some things 3 months out, because as the seasons change here, we're gonna be needing winter type clothing, not the summer clothing.
Mhm.
So just want to get an update.
Makes sense.
And I know Catapult.
Catapult was had like 5,000 toys. I know they gave a bunch of toys away to our students who were in summer school last week, and they still have more toys to give away to individuals. And a lot of them may be given away on that on the August 3rd.
Day.
Back to school bash. I don't call it March, I don't call it April. It's actually August 3rd. The time to be determined. And here's why we're looking at the time. Because there's several other events going on that same day, and we don't want our parents to miss out on any opportunity. So we want to make sure parents have opportunity to hit the multiple opportunities going on. I know there's opportunity that morning at the Trotwood Community Center. I think it's 10 to 2. But we're going to check and see if there's another event that was planned from 2 to 4 and see if there was another one. If not, I think we're looking at going from 5 to 7. Location to be determined. The reason I say that, because one year we used the high school, the big campus, and then last year we used the fields on Main Street. Okay. With the new construction going on Main Street, do we want to highlight Main Street and go back to Main Street? So that's some kind of conversation that will be happening next week to finalize that information.
Thank you. B, which is the Five Rivers Health Center progress and grand opening.
Right. That one I got Marlon. Actually, Marlon's on vacation, but he sent me information. He says Five Rivers' last conversation was mid to late August for the move-in. We will meet with them when he returns. He'll be back next week. So Five Rivers is still also seeking funding to complete their project. We're just waiting on their timeline for a completion date.
Yeah, I don't know if the board would like to have Five Rivers come out and do a presentation at our next board meeting along the lines of some of the other ancillary services that we talked about, like the mental health and that sort of thing, so that we have a better understanding of what we can provide this coming year.
For sure.
Yeah, I'll reach out to them. If they can't come next week, can they come the following week? If they can't, because I want this. Okay.
If they can come next week, that would be great.
18th
Either the 18th
or the 25th.
I don't have a 25th.
Oh, we don't.
We'll talk
That's right,
about the
right there,
meetings.
right there.
We'll talk about the meetings because there's a series of retreats too, okay? So we do have some options for them, all right?
Okay.
22nd, 23rd, 25th, 18th, so we got a lot of work to do, all right? Sinclair Community College Mentoring Program, Brother to Brother.
Right. As a question, I reached out to Dr. Bledsoe with the SOB program. There was a monetary fee with that, but also then connected with Sinclair on their Brother to Brother mentoring program, which is like an offshoot of the SOB program. There's no cost for that. Met with Mr. Welch and another individual, I forgot the guy's name, and they started sharing with me what their program can offer. They reached out to Mr. McCray, and I think they have a meeting scheduled for Mr. McCray next week to talk about what the Brother to Brother program will be. And that's where they'll partner up with, they have mentors from Sinclair with our students here. And then on Fridays, the students will actually get opportunity to go down to Sinclair's campus and be a part of their Brother to Brother program, Friday afternoons.
Without us picking up the cost for SAR.
Without picking the cost of SOB this year, correct? Yes.
This is a separate program.
It's separate, correct. Because we could not find the funding the way the program is written with SOB. I could not use the funding for that we had, say any type of funding, because that would be for all, not just for a select student group, unless we're paying for it out of general fund.
We'd like them to come in and talk about the Brother to Brother program as well, so we can understand what that's about. Additionally, the Back to School Bash is August 3rd. And you just talked a little bit about that, and you'll get back with us on the specifics. Opening day, staff convocation, what day is that? I'm sorry.
We have the 8th and the 9th in 2 days. We're finalizing everything with our building principals tomorrow. I can give you a report next Thursday on everything.
Okay. That's really it. That's it. Ms. Allen, do you have any comments?
I just had one. Yesterday, I was able to participate or go to the urban network meeting. Primarily, the meeting was with the state superintendent, and the majority of the conversation centered around the academic distress commissions. And so there was several districts, many districts, I think I was trying to count at least 10 different districts that could potentially be affected by ADC. And so it was a very lively conversation. They also asked Trotwood-Madison to say a couple words. So our board member Myra Bozeman and superintendent myself said a couple. So that's all.
Okay. Superintendent, comment?
Yes. One of the things I know the board asked me about in regards to policy 5113, I scanned it out to everyone. That's our open enrollment policy. And the question was has it been open for K-12? And as I read through it, it has always been open for K-12. The reason why we had advertised grades 6 through 12 was based on K-5 actually having the maximum numbers in the classrooms at this time. And we started thinking about with the tornado relief and the numbers of students that could be displaced, we said K-12 with the again, what the hopes of our kids coming back, but if our kids are not there, then there'll be other students who could then backfill these students. So the students, the question was, if they have a student on a waiting list, are they guaranteed a slot? The answer is no, for the open enrollment at the K-5 level. If we don't have space, you can't force a kid in. One of the things I was talking to Lisa Miner about, and we'll work with CARE on this next week, we have a gifted program, kind of self-contained. If those numbers are small, you say you have a gifted student that wants to come to Trotwood, and we have already a designated classroom for that, and that's a special program, and it's the opening in that classroom for a gifted kid, then you can accept that kid because that kid is being accepted into a program.
Mhm. Okay. Any other comments?
I have the, oh yeah, tomorrow I'm working again, continuously working with Father Ben and the ministerial group here. I'm actually gonna give him more information tomorrow on the numbers. He's been working on uniforms as well and getting information out to the ministerial alliance in the area for them to adopt schools or grade levels as well. So getting all the information out to them as well. So again, just trying to make this a total community effort, outreach. Oh, also, I got a call from the Tribal Police Department today.
Okay.
I'm going over there tomorrow morning to give them a list. They want to adopt a grade level as well.
Mhm.
So I'm going to meet with them tomorrow.
And check in with Quincy on the Trotwood disaster relief and
Okay.
see where they are. I don't know if they're in a position where they're giving out funds, but I know that they are actively getting donations. And I believe Jeff Rezaback is the person who is leading the charge with that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Andrews, do you have any comments? I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. Overson, are you down?
That was it.
All right.
Regarding,
Just,
just in general?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make one note. There are several entities, as everybody's aware of, in the area that are doing things to try to raise funds to support the community and the schools. And Deja Vu, which is where they do dance and things.
I sent them over to Miss Allen.
Okay.
Kenny Wilkerson, his group.
Okay, well, there's going to be another dance to raise funds for Trotwood. I'm thinking this one is going to be targeted for the middle school, but at any rate, it's going to be Sunday. It'll be a dance from 6 until 10 p.m. at Deja Vu Sunday. Line dancing, ballroom, and stepping, and free dancing, freestyle dancing as well. But they're trying to encourage everyone to come out. The donation is $10 cash or anything to exceed that anyone might feel that they're able to do.
Thank you. Ms. Bozeman?
Is that pointing for the middle school? I just want to get a note. Is that pointing for the middle school?
I'm thinking that it is.
Okay.
And if not, it's for the schools in general.
Okay.
But I'm thinking this one is targeted to middle school.
Okay.
Ms. Bozeman? Thank you, Mr. Andrews.
I guess not much. I was just gonna kind of piggyback off what Janice said, how yesterday we attended the Urban Network Summer Meeting, and I was really surprised about that lively discussion we had with the state superintendent. I didn't expect for it to be quite that, electric. I mean, it was really live in there. Yeah, it was almost like a 2-hour chunk of time that, he kind of did like a freestyle discussion, and then he took questions, and the questions, they didn't throw him any softballs. I mean, they were hitting him pretty hard with a lot of the questions that they were giving him. So it was interesting. It was, I'm glad I went to it, learned a lot.
Thank you for representing the board. Ms. Jeter Freeman?
Nothing this evening.
Okay, and I only want to say thank you for those who are still with us. We appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you for what you do in the district, and just thank you for the commitment that you've made to students as well as the mission of the district. With that said, I need a motion to adjourn into executive session to consider the appointment, dismissal, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee or regulated individuals per Board of Education Policy 0166 and ORC 121.22 G 1 and B, to discuss the details relative to security arrangements and emergency response protocols for public body or public office per our ORC 121.22 G6 and C, to prepare for, conduct, or, or review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment, per ORC 121.22 G4. Motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none.
Ms. Bozeman was first.
Bozeman, Peter Freeman. Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Peter Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, we will now adjourn into executive session. And it says action will be taken. This an action item? Okay, there's no, okay. No action will be taken. Thank you.